One of the biggest stars in the sport of wrestling has died during a show in London. Cesar Gonzalez Barron, known as Silver King, collapsed during a bout alongside other well-known figures of the sport. Gonzalez also appeared in a 2005 film, a comedy about Mexican freestyle wrestling. The BBC's Stuart Hughes told me more about him.
He was a legend in the sport of Lucha Libre, the Mexican wrestling sport, which is part of popular culture there. And every year for the last 11 years or so, the sport of Mexican wrestling has been brought to London. And every year there's been a festival of Lucha Libre in London. And on Saturday night, Cesar Gonzalez, known by his stage name Silver King, was taking part in a fight alongside other legends of Mexican wrestling. And it appears what happened during the fight on Saturday night is that he was taking part in a bout. When he collapsed in the ring, no one was quite sure, given the sport is so choreographed, whether this was just part of the act. Many of the audience there in the Roundhouse Theatre in Camden thought that was just part of the act, that maybe he'd passed out as part of the performance. Unfortunately, it turned out that it was much more serious than that. Doctors were brought to the ring and gave him medical attention in the ring, and he was taken to hospital. But unfortunately, at the age of 51, it does appear that when he was taken to hospital, he died in what Mexican reports are saying that it was quite possibly a heart attack.
And in this sport, he was an absolute superstar.
Yes, he was. To those who aren't familiar with the sport of Lucha Libre, it is quite a spectacular sport. It is marked by fighters fighting good against evil. Often those fighters are masked. And Cesar Gonzalez was born in the Mexican city of Torreon. And as is often the case in this sport, he grew up in a wrestling family. His father was a popular figure in the sport of Lucha Libre. And Gonzalez made his debut in the sport in 1986, and he became known as a masked wrestler. Some of the wrestlers in this sport wear masks. They hide their faces, and often in popular imagination, their faces are never known. He's known as a luchador enmascadero in the Mexican tradition, a masked fighter, and he had the name Silver King. And he came to popular imagination outside Mexico in 2005. He appeared in the film Nacho Libre, a comedy starring the Hollywood actor Jack Black, and that film was very popular. It raised some $100 million in worldwide box office. So that's what pushed him outside the sport of Lucha Libre within Mexico, and he really became an international superstar.
The BBC's Stuart Hughes with that report.